Okay, so I have a couple minutes past 10, so get started. Sure, some other people might trickle in as we start here. So thanks to everyone for coming today. This is a road safety audit for Pearl Street at Torrey Street in Brockton. As you can see on your agenda here, so what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about this. We'll talk about crashes that are occurring at this intersection. I'll give a brief introduction of this project in a minute and how it originated. And then so we'll go through observations, talk about the crash history here, and then we'll get into a kind of more open discussion, identifying any issues that we see here and proposing potential countermeasures. And those countermeasures can be both, you know, things can be implemented in the short term, lower costs, or they can be higher ticket item, higher ticket price projects as well, capital improvements. So it kind of, there are no wrong answers today. Everything's on the table, and we'll put this all together into a report, and we'll go from there. So before I proceed any further, I'll do some introductions. So thanks everyone for coming today. My name is Bill McNulty. I'm a principal transportation planner with Old Colony Planning Council. I'm the project manager on this road safety audit, a regional locations project that we've been doing through this past program year. And I'll just go down my list here. Charlie?
Yeah, thank you, Bill. I'm Charles Kilmer. I'm the Assistant Director and Transportation Program Manager with the Old Colony Planning Council. And I'd like just to extend a welcome to the city of Brockton and the folks from MassDOT. Both entities and are a true planning partner in our regional planning process, and we're thankful that we're able to provide this planning opportunity to help identify safety improvements for this location.
Thank you, Charlie. Coach Chang?
Good morning. This is Guo Chang Li with OCPC. I'm the principal transportation planner.
Thank you. Thank you. Kyle, who appears on your list as the intersection South Pearl Torrey.
Good morning, everyone. Kyle Mowat with the Old Colony Planning Council. And if anybody has any questions regarding the intersection out here, I'll be happy to get a shot of it for you guys.
I sure hope he's wearing a high-res vest.
Yeah,
I am.
thanks, Kyle. Ray?
Sure. I'm Ray Garino, Principal Transportation Planner for Old Colony Planning Council.
Thanks, Ray. Sean?
Hello, everyone. My name is Sean Bailey. I am a Senior Transportation Planner with the Old Colony Planning Council.
Thank you, Sean. Rob?
Rob May, Director of Planning and Economic Development for the city of Brockton.
Okay. Is it Ale or Ale or?
Yep, Ala can say this.
Ala.
Okay, MassDOT District 5 projects.
Thank you, Ala. Kevin Fitzgerald?
Hi, I'm Kevin Fitzgerald, MassDOT's Traffic and Safety Group in Boston.
Thank you, Kevin. Bianca?
Hi, I'm Bianca Marshall, District 5, MassDOT Traffic.
Thank you. Ryan? Okay. Michelle?
Hi, my name is Michelle Dang. I'm from MassDOT Traffic Safety in Boston.
Thank you, Michelle. Joseph?
Hi, my name is Joseph. I'm in MassDOT and I'm in traffic safety.
Thank you. Jason?
Jason Walters, MassDOT District 5 projects.
Thank you, Jason. See, Brady?
Morning, everyone. Brady Winston, Policy Associate at the Mayor's Office, the City of Brockton.
Thank you, Brady. Welcome. Happy to have you here. Is there anyone else that on the list that I missed? Okay, thanks everyone. So this road safety audit, it's part of a larger program in our unified work program that we've been doing through this past program year, which actually concludes this month. We've had a new federal fiscal year starts next month, so we're getting near the end of this program. It's been very successful. We've done quite a few road safety audits through the region. And so this one, this location was identified through coordination with the city's traffic commission. This was a high priority location that the traffic commission identified and specifically requested a road safety audit for. So we're happy to include this. The objective here, obviously, is to ultimately reduce injuries on the roadway network and improve safety. And so we used a data-driven process to identify high crash locations, high hazard locations throughout the region. And there was this collaborative process reaching out to the communities to identify locations that we identified as being high crash locations in our own internal safety management system, but then also seeking input from the city, or the communities, I should say. So in this case, this was a case where the city identified location that was important to them. And so the goal here today is to identify any safety issues or deficiencies that we see. It can be with the intersection itself or the immediate surrounding area, then propose improvements that could go to improving safety overall. This is a kind of high view locus map of where this intersection is located. So you can see Pearl Street basically runs north to south, basically parallels Route 24, comes up out of Easton, and then connects up into Stoughton. Torrey runs east to west, basically from the Brockton Fairgrounds area, and then traveling westward into Easton. It is a busy intersection. A lot of traffic travels through here. This is a closer aerial view of the intersection. So you can see single lane approaches. It is signalized. It's a mix of post-mounted traffic signals and one overhead mast arm. Most of the signals are post-mounted, though. It is it's a fairly tight geometry in there, and this intersection does, while congestion isn't the main objective of this road safety audit, there is a lot of congestion here, and that probably does contribute to some of the crashes that are occurring here. Just some background data. So Pearl Street, it's functionally classified as an urban collector. Both of these roadways are under the jurisdiction of the city of Brockton. In 2019, Pearl Street had an average weekday daily traffic of just over 15,000 vehicles. So it's a busy roadway. It is, like I said, it's a pretty busy connector from Brockton into Easton, making connections to Route 138 to the west and also Stonehill College. The 85th percentile speed was 43 miles per hour, so a little bit over the speed limit. I think I saw a speed limit sign on Pearl for 40 miles per hour. And heavy vehicle percentage was right around where we would expect it for this type of roadway, 6.9%. Torrey, Actually, I'm sorry, that was, I said that, got those backwards. Pearl runs north to south. Torrey, we don't have any recent data. In 2011 was the most recent traffic volume that we had for Torrey. The roadway at that time had a traffic volume of just under 8,700. We'd expect that to be somewhat higher now. Maybe not right now coming out of pandemic. The traffic volumes are still kind of a little weird coming out of pandemic. It's mostly recovered on the arterials, but some more local streets volumes are still a little bit below what they used to be. But we just generally, City of Brockton's traffic stays fairly constant. It does increase a little bit from year to year. So, even though this is a 10-year-old traffic volume, we would expect it's kind of probably still in the same ballpark around 87, 8,800. This is a look at the crash history. So we had requested crash data from the Brockton Police Department, and what we had gotten, the collision reports that we'd gotten, we only had a total of 9. And then, I coordinated, MassDOT kind of cross-referenced that with their own system and noticed that they had quite a few more crashes in their records than what we had gotten from the city. So this collision diagram that you see here and had gone out to the group last night, it is incomplete. But instead, I went through that data that MassDOT provided this morning. So there were a total of 33 crashes at that intersection in the 4-year period from 2017 through 2020. 11 of those resulted in injury. So about a third of those crashes resulted in injury. Looking at the types of collisions that are happening there. So 20 of those crashes were categorized as angled collisions. So collisions between vehicles arriving from perpendicular streets. 11 of those were rear end collisions. Rear end collisions do tend to be fairly common with signalized intersections. And there were 2 crashes that were single vehicle roadway departure crashes. 11, so about a third of the crashes did occur at night. In lighted conditions, there is a lot of lighting at this intersection. So darkness or dark conditions don't appear to be an issue per se, because there's quite a few overhead streetlights on all the approaches, and there's also abutting land uses as well. So there's both a lot of overhead lighting and ambient lighting at this location, yet a third of the crashes are occurring at night, and 5 were occurring on wet surfaces. So 15%. So most of the crashes occurred in dry conditions, so weather and it doesn't appear to be much of a factor here. One thing of note, 8 of those crashes, 25% occurred between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. That's, just quickly looking through the data, that was the highest 2-hour window that we saw crashes occurring, and it's a little unusual. That's after the morning peak. It's when congestion has let out a little bit. That might be just a factor since congestion has let out. Speeds are picking up a little bit. People in that mid-morning rush. I don't know. So, but that's definitely something to note, because that's where the peak window of crashes is different than the peak traffic volume. So here's where we'll get into just some open discussion and start identifying issues that we see. I have 3 slides here that kind of show some views of this intersection. Kyle is out there as well. He can provide some input and also answer any questions anyone has about specific questions about the intersection itself. But this is a view from the northwest corner. So you can see again those single lane approaches. There are crosswalks on each approach. However, they're not ADA compliant. They most cases they're blocked by curbs. So anybody with a wheelchair or a mobility assistant device is going to have trouble navigating through there. You can see that what I was talking about, it's a mix of post-mounted and overhead traffic signals in this particular view. You can see, so this is you can see the overhead signal here doesn't line up with the approach. It actually aligns with the departing southbound approach. This is again looking at another view from this is Pearl Street looking northbound. You can see fairly that tight geometry here that we're talking about. You have fire hydrant there on the corner. A lot of fixed objects in the corners. The post-mounted signals. Not a large turning radii on any of the corners, so trouble for cars to maneuver around a left turning vehicle. I have to check with the city to see if they've had any issues here with tractor trailers hitting those post-mounted signals. I know that that tends to be a recurring problem with a lot of intersections in the city. Trucks with large turning radii are clipping post-mounted signals on the corners.
Bill?
Yep.
Rob May here. I have a question about the collision data and collision diagram.
Yep.
You'd sent out some information, and obviously it's been updated since then. The preview had 9 crashes. This has 33, but only 9 of those crashes seem to be diagrammed.
Yeah, so
will you be coming out with a new diagram or because that could tell us a lot more about what's going on at this? Because if you look at this, most of the accidents are east-west, and if that bears true for the rest of the accidents, it could be telling us something, dramatic there.
Yep. So yeah, we are going to be updating this collision diagram with all the data, additional data that we received from MassDOT. And normally, if you were in the at the road safety audit that we did for Brockton a few weeks ago, we normally I have charts and to kind of summarize factors related to those crashes. I did take those out for this audit because those are kind of not applicable anymore. They don't line up with the new data. So that this collision diagram we will update, and so the process will be we'll update this with all the data, all the additional data that we got from MassDOT, and so we'll send this out to the group, and the group will have ample time to review it. We'll provide our own input, obviously, and so everyone will have a chance to review it, provide additional comments and observations that they see based on the new analysis. So, we'll probably open up the window for review a little longer than typical, just because of the new analysis. And so there'll be plenty of opportunity to review the new collision diagram, because you're right. Once we do sketch out these new crashes, it could give a lot more insight to what's happening here. And the only reason I received the new data this morning. I just didn't have time to
Okay.
prepare a new collision diagram before this audit. So and this is just another view, those non-ADA compliant crossings that I mentioned. So the crossings do lead, in most cases, lead into a curb. So anything with wheels is going to have trouble navigating that. Obviously, you see that one crosswalk there that kind of just seems to lead right into a travel lane. So,
Bill,
yep,
on that previous slide,
this one.
yeah, I noticed two things, and I wondered if the panelists had any insight on that utility pole that's laying on the ground, and then also the wear pattern in the grass. Is that a place where vehicles go around cars at the signal, or is that a pedestrian phenomenon?
The utility pole on the ground is due to an increase in the beaver population. I don't think that's been a knockdown.
Yeah, this is a new photo. So I'm not sure how long that pole is there. It's still there.
It seems like it's there to prevent cars from going too far over to the side or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill.
Yep.
Some of that new data that Michelle had sent over. Thank you, Michelle, for that data. I was looking at some of the descriptions and some of these angle crashes. There would be cars that approach the intersection, and another car would go around, like say someone's going northbound. I think is that northbound on there.
Yeah,
and
that's north.
Right, and they're going to take a left turn, and another car is coming south. So other cars are coming south. So they're stopped. Some of the crashes were that vehicles behind the left turning vehicles try to go around them and ended up in a crash. So that very might well be from, I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but it looks like there's a lot of that going on. I have to look at the data more because I just looked at the data real quick and there were a couple of crashes like that. So it very well may be that cars are, or someone wants to take a right turn and they can't squeeze over. They want to take a right on red. They might be going over the curb.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, just looking at that image, I think it's probably a combination of both. I think there's probably some pedestrian wear there, but it does seem to be more from vehicles. The ground seems to be rutting there. The ground seems to be compressed a little lower than the roadway. So I suspect that vehicles are just driving over that.
And the queue this morning, as I was looking southbound, was really huge. I mean, it was the north and south have the most green time. It's almost like a fixed signal timing and phasing. But eastbound and westbound have less green time than northbound and southbound. But despite that, there was a huge queue in the northbound direction. So people might be having to wait two cycle lengths to get through, a 3 cycle lengths. If they want to take a right turn, they're just like, oh, I'm not going to wait again,
Yeah. Yeah, I do believe that the signals here are pre-timed. I don't think there are any loop detectors or actuation here.
Are we ready for some observations?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, bring it.
Okay, large parts of Pearl Street are 45 miles an hour. I don't know if this section is, but the city needs to lower that down to 30, which is the base, the overall city. And quite frankly, it should come down even lower. We tend to, even though this used to be Turnpike and, the major, before 24 was built, this was the major highway through the city. It is a residential neighborhood. The volumes, the traffic volumes are high, but the speed is too high and they need to come down. To the approaches, the westbound approach of Torrey is the lanes are too wide. They're 14 and 15 feet wide. There's no friction, and people just love to fly through there. You had mentioned before that the signal heads on the overhead arm are misaligned.
Yep.
They're not over the travel lanes, the appropriate travel lanes. That is a problem. There is no overhead signal for the southbound approach on Pearl Street. There are no pedestrian facilities at all on the east side of Pearl, south of Torrey. So you have a crosswalk to nowhere. And as you can see, there's no curb on that side either. And people are just too damn impatient and trying to make, right turns on red without stopping. And I'll let somebody else talk for a while.
No, those are all great comments. And I don't know if I don't think we have anyone from the fire department here, but yeah, I was curious about that hydrant as well, because that hydrant seems to be in a precarious position, and yeah, being a lower profile fixture, I could see drivers hitting that hydrant.
Well, the drivers shouldn't be leaving the roadway, and I think a curb and a sidewalk would certainly help that. And if you've got to wait while somebody takes a left turn, then get out and ride your bike or walk.
Yep, good point.
Bob, I ride my bike through this intersection and I would not recommend it.
Well, that's why we need to improve that. The turning radii seem to be large, but that might be because of the offset. We're not at a 90-degree angle, which is famous for Brockton. It looks like a 120 and a 80 or one, and so you've got these eastbound turn from Torrey to southbound Pearl is, super wide, and likewise Pearl, Torrey to northbound Pearl.
Yep.
But I don't think this area sees a lot of truck traffic and shouldn't see a lot of truck traffic. And so I don't know if those radii can be tightened up to slow traffic down. Cars don't always have the right of way and shouldn't be the predominant. We're building roads for people, not for vehicles. Something like that. I don't remember what the hell.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're saying. And yeah, so that northbound traffic, the northbound heavy vehicle percentage was about, not overall combined north and southbound, was about 7%. So not, like you said, not really huge, and I suspect it's even less on Torrey.
Should be less east to west. Yeah.
Yeah.
There might be some school buses. I'm sorry. There might be some school buses in that heavy vehicle count. But
maybe they need to slow down to take the turn and not try to take it at 90. Oh, good. Kyle's back. Thought I got hit by a car.
No, God forbid.
I just want to add a little bit of add-on for crash data. We did, based on the crash report later on when Bill updated the data, you guys will see it. I think in 2020, there is a car hitting the light pole. I don't know which one. I don't know if the one that fought. There's also another car hitting the hydrant. I think it's that hydrant in the south corner. But the driver was fall asleep. I think that was the one, if I remember correctly. But once the data get updated, I would recommend, Bill, if you can include some of the crash narrative in the report, so we will find out more.
Regarding that pole, if you were to zoom out a little bit further back, you can see that there's boulders there. There's an old driveway that used to go into that into the parking lot there. And so just out of frame on this, if you were to come south, there's boulders in a former driveway. And I think that pole is there as a wheel stop. I don't think that is, a knockdown.
Yeah, I'd suspect you're right. It's probably there as a block rather than because if it was a knockdown, usually National Grid is pretty good at picking up and taking it out of there. So
Knowing Brockton drivers, I would drive on the right-hand side of the fire plug to get around somebody because I'm too freaking impatient. We are recording this, aren't we? I have to be nicer.
I will edit it out.
Thank you.
Another crash in the report said it was because the intersection was out of power. Does the signal would go on flash mode or it would just go dark because the signal is a little bit too old?
Yeah, I think I would suspect it just goes dark. It does. I haven't looked at the permit yet, but it does. Just being out there and looking at the signals, it does seem to be a pretty old system. So I suspect that it just goes dark rather than going into some backup mode.
Yeah, when the gerbil dies, it goes black.
I see.
And given the congestion at this location, if those signals go down, then yeah, people are gonna have no idea what to do.
Is there a lot of pedestrian activity and bike activity here?
No.
No.
Yeah, there's not I mean, it's a pretty residential area, but there's not a lot of trip generators nearby that would generate a lot of pedestrian traffic. There's a college in Easton, but it's a little bit of a hike from there.
Excuse me, this is Jason Walters from MassDOT projects. Rob, you mentioned, I thought earlier that there were some conflicts with vehicles doing the right turn on red and pedestrians. Is that a concern, or did I just jot that down wrong?
It wasn't. It was just right turn on red. It wasn't. And nobody does right turn on red after stop.
But I mean, with regards,
but it's not a pedestrian. I don't think it's a pedestrian issue. It's just people trying to sneak around cars that are stopped trying to turn left.
Yeah, I was just saying that with regards to the pedestrian volume, trying to pin down what's going on here with pedestrian volume. I mean, if there was a high pedestrian crossing volume, right turns on red or restricting right turns on red, might be a possible solution. But if you're not seeing that high of a volume of peds, then maybe we don't mention it.
I mean, if you go back to the overhead picture, Bill, do you have a more heads on?
Trying to get a feel for the trip generators that are in the area.
Google map. That's why I was looking at it there.
Yeah, it's.
So what I was trying to say, though, or what I was just about to say, is that, and you can't really see it very well. Yeah, you can here. So hold where you are now, and you see the on the southeast corner. As you're heading northbound, the lane flares to the right, and it gets super wide, as if it's intending to have a turn lane and a through lane. Do you see how the travel lane expands?
Yep. Yeah, and I
And it's
can't.
not quite enough to have both, but I think people are trying to do both
Mhm.
at 60 miles an hour.
Yeah, yeah, and I can't.
And it gives you false hope.
Yeah, and the slight offset of the approaches, that it's got to be the reason why that flare, because I can't imagine that, like northbound going right. I can't imagine that's a real heavy movement. Maybe people trying to bypass Belmont Street, but
Because the lane width goes from 12 feet to 16 feet at the stop bar.
Mhm. Yeah, I can see on the image how it really widens out right there.
To address the pedestrian question, you can see in this photo that the main truck drivers, or whatever phrase y'all are using, they have big parking lots. So I think people are, if they're visiting the shopping center or the garden center, they're just entering the parking lot and going. So if that helps with the pedestrian question.
Now, there is a series of trails through Stone Farm that are just to the northwest of this area. And
Sorry, I missed that. Could you say it again?
shut up, Siri. There could be an opportunity to improve the pedestrian environment here so that people from the neighborhood do tend to head in that direction and use those trailheads.
Mhm.
But they are not driving pedestrian counts at this point.
Got it. Thanks
Yeah.
for that.
And obviously, with any kind of improvement beyond beyond low cost, simple fixes, any kind of substantial improvement, we would recommend both pedestrian and bicycle upgrades, just as standard practice with everything we do. And so, yeah, I mean, that might be an opportunity there to definitely enhance access to those trails.
Yeah, super anecdotally, I use this route to access a conservation area and a state park in Easton. So traveling from Brockton to Easton, this could be, I ride my bike on this route, but I don't see many other people doing it.
If I was more ambitious, I would ride my bike to Borderlands, but I drive.
It's tricky in spots. I don't always feel totally comfortable.
No, it definitely is.
So from Google Maps, some of the signal head is still 8-inch. Are those that got upgraded, or that still the same?
No, that they haven't been upgraded.
Hi, this is Bianca, District 5. You mentioned the large parking lots for some of the businesses there. I noticed the nursery, it has really wide curb cuts. I don't know if that's any contributing factor to any of the crashes that have occurred here, but especially on that, on the Torrey Street side, it's pretty wide. And then it looks like on the Pearl Street side, it pretty much runs down like the greenhouses.
Good point.
Yeah, it is really wide there. I'd have to look at the narratives and the crashes, see how much that's contributing to any of the crashes occurring there. But yeah, there's not a lot of access management with that nursery. That's just kind of wide open.
Well, it certainly isn't making you pet friendly.
Right.
There's almost no curb on that side at all.
Just, some other little things I noticed. On the approaches, there is some signage that's not, it's outdated. It's not really considered METCD compliant. So I saw slow children sign. That's, kind of tend to frown away from that nowadays. Also saw
I
signs
was a
that
slow child.
some probably would say I was too, so I don't know. But I also noticed signs that said truck quiet zone, which is a new one for me. I haven't actually seen that sign. I'm guessing that means no jake braking. But
So it looks like BAT have a route here, Route 9 for the west. Is that a BAT route?
I'm sorry, is it a busy route?
That route.
For the
BAT. So BAT does come up. So they come up Pearl Street from the south, and then they turn right onto Torrey. So speaking of that wide radius, so that'd be one large vehicle that's making that turn. The BAT buses. It is one of their busier routes.
It goes to Easton Industrial Park.
Yep. I may actually be taking that bus tomorrow. Right now they're only operating hourly headways with reduced demand from pandemic, but in peak times I think they're operating 20-minute headways, so about 3 buses an hour through there.
Is red light running an issue here? I think it's kind of standard for Brockton in general, but I don't know what the like the clearance times for the signals are. And then also as far as visibility of the signals, none of them have reflective black back plates on them either.
Yeah, I think red light running is an issue, especially a scenario that I see is there's a vehicle turning left, there's a queue behind that left turning vehicle. As that vehicle as the light turns red, that left turning vehicle is able to finally goes, but then the vehicles behind them, they go as well despite the red light. I see that.
I think there's like a,
sport. Go ahead, Ray.
I think there's like a 1 second clearing time. There's not a lot of clearance time between the phases.
Yeah, it's a very short clearance. My own personal experience. So, I'll come eastbound out of Easton, driving back to my home in Abington, and so I'll take this left from Torrey westbound. I'm sorry, Torrey eastbound onto Pearl northbound, and then make my way that way, and that's an area where I'll often get hung up in the intersection, and I'm usually one of those vehicles that's finally able to make that turn just as the lights are turning red. So that is a common occurrence here.
Hey,
And-
I'm sorry, is there anybody on the call from the Brockton Traffic Commission? Because I'd like to hear why they thought we should do a road safety audit here, and why this was a priority over other intersections.
I didn't see anyone from the Traffic Commission on the list when I started.
That speaks volumes.
Yeah. So it was we had a handful of locations that the Traffic Commission suggested. It was this one. It was the
West
For-
Chestnut at the south, at Southworth.
Yeah, West Chestnut, Southworth. There was Forest at Forest, Maine. That was one of them that we obviously just did recently.
And at East Nilsson.
Yep. And Warren at Market, which we will plan on doing next year. We had put that one on hold just because there's a school there, and we hadn't we need that school to be in session while we do the analysis, because the school just is really the driving factor with operations there. So Warren and Market, they'll be coming up in the next program year.
Bill, did you all already do Maine and Nilsson?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, okay.
Bill, on that slide that says non-ADA compliant.
Mhm.
I noticed there's some sand and some debris on the other side of the. Is there like a ponding problem at that intersection?
I'm not sure. I mean, I noticed that as well. And then looking at the crash data, most of the crashes did seem to be occurring in dry conditions. So ponding didn't seem to be contributing to a lot of crashes. But yeah, it does. I noticed that as well. There's a lot of debris there. There are catch basins. I just don't, know how effective they are at clearing water out of there. Usually when I go through it, it's dry, so I can't think of specific memory going through there when it was rain. But
Yeah, Bill, there are catch basins, but looking at that the corner of the intersection that has the the nursery or whatever, I don't think there's a catch basin on that corner. And it's got the wide open curb cuts. At least I didn't see one. Maybe there is one. But
No, there isn't one here.
okay. So I don't know, maybe I see some I guess ponding just in a Google Street View image, but might be something to look at no matter what we do. If we're going to like improve pedestrian accommodations or whatever we propose, if we're going to add more curb to this to the nursery's curb cuts, the drainage in this quadrant would be something we definitely have to look at.
good point. No, plus obviously where you have ponding, then you have ice in the winter. So that
So I was wondering, is that pedestrian phase is the exclusive pet phase when you hit the button?
you want to try? I think it's just concurrent phasing, but Kyle, you're able to press the button out there and see what happens.
Right. Another
Okay.
issue I noticed is the north lag, not the north lag. Yeah, the north lag crosswalk and the east lag crosswalk. They intersect in a weird way. That's definitely not up to the code. So,
Yeah, the pedestrian light went on the next phase of the traffic light. And it was very quick too. It was maybe only 7-8 seconds it was on.
Okay. So that's something to look at as well. Yeah, that does seem pretty short. So
but it
Bill,
is exclusive, right? It's not.
Yeah, the pet phase is an exclusive phase.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
That's okay.
Bill, I just sent you an email with the utility data on it, and the southwest corner does not have a catch basin.
okay, good to know. Thank you.
The picture that you showed, that's labeled non-ADA compliant,
Mhm.
the foundation for that signal post isn't at grade, so it could be a tripping hazard as well.
Yep. Good call. All right, so we've had a lot of good comments about identifying issues here. So now just talking about potential improvements here. So I think even though it'll be a higher cost, longer term project, probably replacing the signals overall, making them actuated, um, making them all overhead, probably either wire guide or mast arm, that type of thing. You know, post mounted signals are kind of antiquated. They're not really supported anymore. The overhead is definitely preferred. You obviously want signal heads to align with the approaches. Another thing that again, is big project, but another thing to consider, if there's looking just eyeball, I'm not obviously haven't done the engineering, and just eyeballing it does seem to be a little tight, so it might not be a viable option, but it's worth a look at anyways. If you're gonna do a major project here, maybe converting it to a roundabout, getting rid of the signals, that'd be something to consider. Pedestrian improvements, so not only enhancing those crossings themselves, but the approaches as well, enhancing those sidewalks would be something to consider. Looking at improving bicycle safety, so there's really no bicycle infrastructure, whether it's sharrows or bike lanes or anything out there right now at all. So any kind of enhancement to bicycle mobility and safety, it would be something that we'd look at. Drainage improvements, we obviously mentioned the drainage, and especially that southwest corner where the nursery is. Adding in curbing, obviously if you're going to add in sidewalks, curbing would go along with that, and also curbing would help with drainage as well. And any other suggestions?
Evaluating the lane usage, so maybe adding left turn lanes, if that's applicable. Also adding reflectorized backplates for short-term improvement.
Yep.
Upgrading the pedestrian housings with countdown indicators and APS push buttons.
All good suggestions. Anything else? Okay. So, I think, this was a great discussion. We had a lot of good observations on issues that we saw here. We've obviously identified a few potential improvements, and as I noted earlier, so that new data that we got this morning on the crashes, we'll update the analysis and send that out to the group. That may change, that may solicit new comments, new observations, and new recommendations, and that's perfectly fine. So we'll update that analysis and then distribute it to everyone, and give ample time to review that and provide any comments that you see. So So we'll be doing that. Then we'll be, be putting together a report. It'll go into draft format. It'll go out to everyone in this group. You have, ample time to review and comment. We'll take those comments, edit the document, and finally issue a final report. And that provide guidance going forward for any improvements that could be made at this intersection. Any additional questions or comments at this time? All right. So again, thank you, everyone. You can see my contact information on the screen. I think most of you already have it anyways. So the next steps will be to, once we have updated the analysis, send the updated analysis to all of you. Thank you to the city of Brockton for not only working with us to identify this location, but joining in on this audit today. Even though they're not here, thank you to Senator Brady's office. They've been very supportive of this project, and I know that they wish they were able to come today, and they send their regrets. And thanks to MassDOT for all the data and technical support. And so if there's nothing else, I'll conclude this audit. And one final thing, as with all audits, this will be posted online. So you also have opportunity to review there as well. Okay, so I'm not hearing any additional comments. I'll bid you all a good day, and hope you all have a good week and enjoy the coming fall.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks, everyone.